That down, let's get this week started, shall we? With this. Daredevil, Born Again. I think we can, are we at the point now that we can say days away?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, still over a week, but I'll say
days.
we're now days away from Daredevil, Born Again. And I'm super excited about it. And one of my big complaints about streaming, the streaming era and shows on streamers, is that we often have to wait 2, sometimes 3 years. It's normal now, 2 to 3 years in between seasons. But hold on to your gitch, because the big executive guy in charge of television over at Marvel is saying not so with Daredevil, because season 2, it's coming next year. And then season 3 will be the year after that. And it's going to be annual. This comes to us from the folks over at Screen Rant, who asked him, considering Daredevil Born Again season 2 production kicks off in just a couple of weeks here in New York, is the ambition for a project like Daredevil Born Again to eventually become an annual release? You know, like every other TV show in history before the streaming era. And Brad Winderbaum, the head of Marvel Television, said, that is the plan. Season 2 will come out next year, and then hopefully season 3 and season infinity after that. I think this world is extremely rich, and there are many stories to be told on the streets of New York. All right. There's 2 very interesting things that come out of this for me. Number 1 is, of course, an actual executive making the commitment that this thing's going to come out every year. And that is what every TV show on streamers should be. They should have a season per year. I understand the realities of streaming being that they're never really sure if they're going to do a season 2, so they don't lock people in. So once they decide to do another season, it sometimes takes a while for them to get to schedules, whatever. But to get a series like Daredevil and to say we're going to start doing this annually, and they do start shooting season 2 in just a couple of weeks, they'll be ready plenty of time for 2026. And then to say that's the plan, every year put out a show like this, I think it's marvelous. But here's the second thing that I don't see anybody else talking about. I wonder if this announcement is kind of an implied message to us fans. Don't expect to see Daredevil in many movies. Like, we are literally going to have Charlie Cox and team and crew making a new season every year.
Locked up.
And so that's where you're going to see Matt Murdock. I mean, will there still be time if they wanted to drop in a movie? Probably. But I wonder if this sort of an announcement kind of indicates to us, don't expect to see a Spider-Man Daredevil team up movie. Don't expect to see this. I mean, this is going to be an ongoing series. So I don't know. I wonder about that. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Kikoff. Man, time flies, doesn't it? 1 minute, you're reminiscing about your last vacation, and the next, you're thinking about major life goals, like buying a car, getting that dream home. But if your credit isn't where it needs to be, those goals can feel out of reach. And that's where Kikoff comes in, the #1 credit building app in the App Store that makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free to build credit fast. And that's exactly why I love Kikoff. They give you a credit line for just building credit, not for spending. Your on-time payments get reported to the 3 major credit bureaus, helping you improve your credit mix and payment history, 2 of the biggest factors in credit growth. If your credit is under 600, you could see a jump of about 28 points in your first month. No credit check, no hidden fees, no interest, just smart credit building. Building credit can happen faster than you expect with Kikoff. Don't wait. Get your first month for just $1 at getkikoff.com/Campea. That's kickoff without the C. Get 80% off at getkikoff.com/Campea. Must sign up via getkickoff.com/Campea to activate offer. Offer applies to new customers first month only, subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Terms and conditions may apply. Point stat based on Equifax Vantage Score 3.0 changes for Kikoff users starting under 600 who made their first on-time payment between January of 2021 and March of 2024. Payment and credit activity outside Kikoff can have an impact on your credit. Individual results may vary. Rob, let me pose those 2 issues to you. What do you think about the idea of Winterbaum now saying this is going to be an annual thing? We're going to put out a new season every year. And it sounds like they're at least kind of thinking about more than just season 2, like season infinity, he says. And then do you think this might be a little bit of a canary in the cave, saying that maybe don't expect to see Charlie Cox or Daredevil in many of the movies? I don't know. How do you see both of those?
Well, I mean, look, first of all, I see that the Daredevil franchise, as it is, because you've got a movie, you know, the Ben Affleck movie, you've got Daredevil's appeared in the MCU. He was on Netflix. I think making Daredevil what do they call it? Earth level, street level character.
Yeah. Or as he likes to call it, a human level character.
A human level character. It makes sense because look, while the Avengers are out protecting the multiverse, dealing with Doctor Doom or the Secret Wars or whatever the hell's going on, it makes sense that we still have to have law enforcement. You still have to have something going on in New York. I mean, New York City is infinitely interesting. And so having Daredevil do Daredevil things makes a lot of sense to me, especially when Wilson Fisk is apparently the mayor and there's a lot of shenanigans happening. So keep that character. I mean, that's in the comics. You can still have really interesting threats. I mean, whether there's a Typhoid Mary happening, whether Wilson Fisk is bringing down your brownstone, whatever, there's still enough going on. I mean, look at how many cop shows exist in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, Daredevil can be the cop show of the Marvel Universe. It's a superhero cop who's a lawyer. So you've got lawyer shows and cop shows and superheroes in one show. So it makes sense to me.
Just like She-Hulk.
Well, but this was good.
That's
Not just like, but
But
they
I'll
just
but-
like-
You
It's
know-
just as funny as She-Hulk.
But I'll tell you
because
something,
I
John.
don't want it to be funny at all.
But this shows that the thing about Daredevil is not just being a human level character. You also, every time She-Hulk appeared as She-Hulk, you're talking visual effects. You're talking a lot more money.
Yeah.
Daredevil is the kind of show that can be manageable in terms of cost.
Yeah.
In terms of making it, it isn't Westeros. You're not, you can make this at Silver Cup Studios, wherever you're going to shoot it. You can do it in Atlanta, wherever, but you can be I just think from a production standpoint, it's manageable. And during the time that you're in post on one season, you can shoot the next season. A lot of these shows take so long because of the amount of visual effects, because of how it's slower to shoot shows that have that many things going on. But this can be more like a traditional TV show. So I think it's great. I don't think that necessarily means that we won't see Daredevil like when Daredevil appeared in Spider-Man.
But I mean, like, kind of beyond a quick eye wink cameo.
I don't know.
Thing.
I mean, if they need Daredevil to do something like lock down, batten down the hatches in New York, maybe. But I think that's what Marvel needs. Marvel needs characters in TV shows that aren't going to cross over into their films, because let the TV series be special too.
Yeah.
I understand they can all exist in the same universe, but it's just like Marvel Comics. You can have whole runs of comics that only deal with one character that don't have the Avengers or Captain America. The Daredevil comics, like they were always best when they dealt with Daredevil. So I think this is a really good idea. And they're following up on the Netflix precedent. You can still bring in people to guest star, but I like that Daredevil's going to kind of be its own thing. I think it's good.
By the way, some people are talking in the live chat. I just want to say for the record, if Daredevil does not twerk in the first episode, I'm bailing. I'm giving up on this show. It'll be a huge missed opportunity. Chris, again, it seems like two things. Number one, the idea of it actually being an annual show, which is so against the grain in today's streaming world.
yes.
But do you think this also might be a little bit of an indicator that we shouldn't expect to see a Daredevil feature film or a Daredevil and Deadpool or Daredevil and Spider-Man? I mean, anything beyond quick little cameos? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think Rob nailed it. This is the essence of this character, is being in Hell's Kitchen, being on street level, being people level, working with them and everything. And I know for some of my friends too, who aren't as heavy into the comic book world, they've often said, there's only so many times I can watch these galactic events. There are only so many times I can watch the world end, or, an entire metropolitan area be destroyed without feeling a little fatigued or like it's played out, and I'm not watching character.
Desensitized.
Exactly,
maybe.
yeah. Which is kind of what happened with the Celestial, right? This is just a Tuesday in the MCU.
Yeah.
There's a giant being in the universe, out in the sky, fine, we're used to it. So the idea of having characters who are on that very human level, who are interacting with people in a very procedural kind of way, I think really adds a lovely layer to the MCU of, we need all kinds of heroes. Because we've talked about this before too, of who can be on the lunchbox. They need to be super powered individuals. They need to be able to handle these galactic threats and handle these big bads that mean they have to have supercharged abilities. And yes, Daredevil has abilities, but we're not going to see him trying to punch Thanos in the face kind of situations. You know what I mean? I think it's helpful to have somebody who is there to take care of the everyday person who is being disenfranchised by political corruption in a town, who is being mugged on the street, who is dealing with, local gangs and things like that. I feel like a lot of times we miss the trees in the forest kind of situation of, we still need to make sure that all people are taken care of. And by having somebody who is localized and a hero who is working in a specific borough of New York, you bring back the humanity to these superhero stories. So I feel like it'll be a good fit. And I do think we'll just probably see Matt pop in more as a lawyer or maybe as somebody who they consult with as opposed to joining in on the big bad threats in the movies.
And you know who else can't deal with big bad threats like Thanos and Galactus?
Captain America?
Ninjas. Ninjas.
And Daredevil has so
And
many.
Daredevil
ninjas.
has so many. We got the Hand. Come on.
By
I mean,
the-
how can they try and vilify Japan in Captain America: Brave New World, where all ninjas come from Japan? Why do you do that?
I didn't feel vilified. I felt like they were understandably upset.
Yeah,
I
they were
finally
the
saw
ones
this this
being
weekend.
wronged.
Yeah.
That's why they're going to flood the U.S. with
Ninjas. Although,
All
by the
the
way, I had a
ninjas.
new idea. You know how in Sonic 3, my favorite scene in Sonic 3 is when Robotnik and his grandfather have that dance sequence? I think that's the funniest part of the film. I want a Matt and Kingpin dance sequence. Episode 1, Daredevil. That's it, or I'm tapping out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The head of Marvel Television is saying that, confirming we're going to get Daredevil season 2 next year, and they're going to actually put out a season every year. What a novel thought. What do you think about that? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.